I've heard people like in our community at school be like, aren't you scared of not like your kids not being vaccinated? I'm like, of what?
If their vaccines work, why am I scared?
I believe the medical advancements and our antibiotics would treat anything that my kid would get or myself. I mean, we just went through the whooping cough. Let me tell you, we all survived. We're here, we're building our immune system, and we're going to move past it.
Your organization has achieved a significant dent in vaccine mandates.
We didn't do the science. We didn't do the clinical trials. We didn't do the post-safety. But one thing we know it's rare.
Hello, and welcome to TFEC Shot Callers podcast. My name is Kelly. I am the Communications Director with Texans for Vaccine Choice. And speaking about choice, today we will be talking about the school choice vouchers in Texas and how they may play a role in helping to get vaccine exemptions allowed in private schools in Texas. Notoriously, Catholic private schools in Texas have disallowed vaccine exemptions, including religious exemptions, for many, many years. And we are hoping that with the passage of the ESAs in the recent legislative session, that this may be an inroads for families to now, be able to get their kids in school without, having to provide those immunization records. And so today we have two incredible warrior mamas, Emma Rieger and Dr. Abby Johnson, joining us today. And we are going to discuss what's going on with the headway being made on this subject. And so, Emma, could you please tell us a little bit about your signature petitions and what you've been working on lately?
Yeah, so it's been something that has been near and dear to my heart as a mother of six and a cradle Catholic, and wanting to send my kids to Catholic school. It just seemed like a no-brainer that why would we discriminate anybody from coming to our school? So, Abby and I, and actually we have a couple other people too that have been in this this journey with us, and we put a petition together and kind of brainstorm like how can we make waves in this and get some attention, because in Texas, it's very interesting, the dynamic that we have as a Catholic church. So in different states, it's all different. So here in Texas, the Catholic bishops have a conference. So we can't, being in the Austin diocese, the Austin bishop can't just say, okay, we will take these exemptions. It has to be a unanimous thing that all the bishops agree on. So we started this petition. We got over 1,200 signatures and growing in about a month or less, because the TCCV education director had told me, hey, the bishops are all meeting in October. Let's get, if you can get it to me then, I'll submit and bring this topic to all of the bishops, which saves me a little bit of work because then I don't have to go to however many 13, 14 bishops. So we were able to get 1,200 signatures and growing. And whether it's parents, whether they're doctors, we've got all kinds of people that have signed it. And I really had no clue, how this was going to go. Like, I'd be great with 100 signatures. I didn't know. We had no clue. So, and now we're just waiting on a response from them.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Abby Johnson, thank you so much for joining us. It's truly an honor. I have to say I've been fangirling all week. When Emma approached me and said, hey, would you be interested in having Abby on? And I was like, Abby Johnson. Of course. myself and many other TFVC supporters and members have been following you for a long time. We are so grateful for the work you've done in our entire country, not just Texas alone. And so it's really a good thing to have you on, because I think you can talk to the aborted fetal cell aspect of this and the Catholic Church. How are they, really coming to balance that out? Like, how do they, they're so pro-life, but then when they are presented with the information about how many vaccines are created from aborted fetal cells, what are they saying to make that right within their own minds, I guess, in order to discriminate against children who are healthy from attending class? I told Emma, that my little mantra for all these years working on this has been, kids can go to mass, but they can't go to class. They literally are sitting next to each other on Sunday. They go to youth group together on Wednesday, but they can't hang out in class on Monday. And the pushback from most families about why they don't want to do certain vaccines is the aborted fetal cell issue. And so when the Catholic Church says, well, you have to be vaccinated, that's a hard thing for families to come to terms with. So I'm very thankful for you being here today, so you can maybe shed some light on the why for this.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, Kelly. I think it's a great question. It's one that a lot of people have really struggled with. As Catholics, we trust the magisterium of the Catholic Church. I was just asked today, I was on a show and someone had asked me a question about something that the church hasn't yet weighed in on. And so it's a moral, ethical issue about adopting babies that are what we call snowflake babies. So babies that have been created through IVF process and are now in cryostorage. And so the church hasn't yet weighed in on that. And so somebody was asking me, Abby, what's your opinion about that? And I said, I don't know. I'm waiting for the church to tell me what to think about it. Because, we like to look to scripture, right? We like to look to scripture as Christians and to say, okay, what does Jesus tell us about this? What does the inerrant word of God tell us about, such issues? We want to follow Jesus. We want to follow, what Christ tells us about moral issues, right? But there's nothing about vaccines in the Bible, right? There's nothing about snowflake babies in the Bible, right? And so that's why I love being Catholic, because we have the magisterium of the church. So I don't have to flounder around and go, well, I don't know. Let me figure it out. Let me interpret this myself. I can go to the magisterium of the church, and they have these masterful theologians that look back at, early text and what did the canon actually say? And what did these words mean? And, what did Jesus mean when he said this? And, all this kind of stuff that I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the ability to look at and figure out, right? So they do it for me. And so I can just look to them, and they have the authority and they hold the authority, and that's that, right? And so when they haven't figured these things out, it leaves me quite perplexed as to how to think about such issues, right? And so that's one of those issues where the church has not come down on a final answer. And so I'm just not exactly sure. And so, one of the things that about vaccines that I kind of felt like they did come down on an issue about vaccines. I felt like they had made sort of an authoritative decision on this because they had said that a Catholic may judge it wrong to receive certain vaccines based on a variety of reasons consistent with Catholic teaching, right? And there's no Catholic teaching that says a Catholic must receive certain vaccines, right? And so it really leaves it up to the Catholic themselves to say, I judge this morally good for myself and my family to receive this vaccine, or I judge it morally wrong to receive this vaccine. It's up to me and my conscience, right? And so that's what the Catholic Church had always taught. And so an individual Catholic may invoke Catholic Church teaching to, decide that they want to refuse a vaccine because it does have an aborted cell line. And that's absolutely justifiable, right? Because abortion is inherently evil. And so for me as a Catholic who is 100% pro-life, I don't feel comfortable giving my child a vaccine that was created from an aborted baby. Even if that aborted baby was aborted in 1969 or 1974 or 1982, it doesn't matter to me because I don't believe that evil act, that intrinsically evil act of murder can ever turn into something that is inherently good. Okay. And that is my belief. And that is what I believe that Catholic Church teaching teaches us as well, is that an intrinsic evil can never turn into an intrinsic good. And so that is what my conscience has told me, that's what my husband and I have decided. That is what we will do for our family. And that is what I believed that Catholic Church teaching would support, right? According to Catholic Church teaching, that it would support our conscientious objection to vaccinating our children. Unfortunately, we kind of have an outdated view of conscience exemptions when it comes to our parochial schools, our Catholic schools here in the state of Texas. And it's something that, Emma has really risen up to the challenge, and she created this petition and this letter. And certainly none of us are saying that, that the bishops are trying to cause harm to our children or anything like that. But the bishops are the bishops, and sometimes, they need for other people, they are out there doing the best they can. They're doing church work. They're ministering to people. They're doing the important work of a bishop. And so many times they need the laity to come alongside them and to say, hey, have you looked into this? Have you looked at this, and maybe can you possibly consider this side of this opinion? Can you consider this from a parent's perspective, right? From our perspective. And, the Catechism states very clearly that it is part of the bishop's mission to educate children in Catholic education whenever possible. And with the vaccine exemptions, the way that they are written right now, that does not allow a moral conscience exemption, I believe, and this is my opinion, but I believe that they are not fulfilling their duty as bishops to allow children to be educated without barriers in Catholic institutions, because they are putting up barriers to Catholic education by putting up these walls with these vaccine requirements. And so we're just simply asking them to please reconsider, to please listen to the parents of these children. Many of us, this was not something I had ever considered, honestly, Kelly. I was a person that vaccinated. Yeah, I was a person that vaccinated. I have 8 children.
Yeah.
I'm a mom of many. I had been a person that just, I don't know, you have kids, you vaccinate them. It's just kind of what you do. Until I had a child that was vaccine injured. And, I was one of those women that was like, oh gosh, these parents of vaccine injured kids, right? I was one of those people. I'll be perfectly honest. I was one of those people.
That's how most of us started out.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, everybody's vaccine injured. I was one of those people. I regrettably, That was me. And then I had a child that was vaccine injured, and he's still dealing with those injuries today. Last night, we dealt with a byproduct of his injury. And so, unfortunately, it took that to really get my attention.
Yeah.
And so now we're just simply asking the bishops to please reconsider, to please read what Emma compiled, this beautiful letter that she compiled that does have direct quotes from the National Catholic Bioethics Center, that does have teaching directly from the Holy Scriptures, that has teaching from the Catechism of the Catholic Church. This is not Emma Rieger's opinion, Abby Johnson's opinion. There's actually no opinion stated in the petition. It is all direct teaching from Holy Scripture, from the Catechism of the Catholic Church, from various papal authorities, encyclicals. These are things that the bishops are reading anyway, and that they have made a vow to follow. And so we're just simply asking for consideration.
Yeah. So current law in Texas is any school that accepts state funding must accept the state philosophical exemption. So therefore, all public schools, charter schools must accept the philosophical exemption. Private schools in Texas have the onus on themselves to create whatever immunization and exemption policy they see fit, as long as they do not take any state funding whatsoever. So with the ESA program that was recently passed, the question will now be, okay, does this now broach into private schools? And since they will be receiving this money, if they opt in, and they will be receiving these funds from the state, are they now bound to that previous statute that currently only applied to public schools? TFVC has filed for an AG opinion to see if that will be the case. And Emma, I know in your petition you mentioned the vouchers, and I was wondering if you have heard anything from any of the dioceses or Dr. Allen regarding that, or have you heard if any dioceses plan to accept the vouchers?
So just from in our diocese alone, and even just in our school, the diocese, you can go to their website and it's ESA is all over it. And now it's called TIFA. So Texas Education Fund Accounts or something. So not, they're throwing all the different words at it. But yeah, I mean, and you can go to many school websites and they will direct you to our diocese page that is blowing up and having all this info. I am just interested in what's going to happen when this AG opinion comes out. I mean, my honest opinion, and if it does come out and they say, hey, you've got to abide by these exemptions, I think the TCCB and their education department will double down. And I think it's going to be an interesting, it'll be really interesting because, like I just said, all of it's all over their websites and all of that. We're all very excited for this ESA that went through and all these funds that are going to be available for all of our families. It's something that we're now going to be able to open doors for others who just weren't able to weren't able to afford that. And that's part of what we listed in this petition was, hey, we have, like Abby mentioned, all these barriers. And we knocked down that with this ESA. We knocked down the financial barrier. Why are there any barriers in the first place? So this is the last one. This is the last straw. And, Scripture says, let the children come to me and do not hinder them and do not prevent them. And I think this is exactly what those exemptions are doing. Because as you guys know, that's why we're here. Like, a medical exemption is the hardest thing to get because what do you need to do? You have to have an injury first. how does that even make sense? Like, okay, let's injure a child, like not go and look at their, genetics, and see, hey, there's potential of an injury because their parent might have had something or their grandparent. No, we're just going to give them something. If they react to it, then maybe we'll give them an exemption.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't sit well with me. And I mean, Abby, I'm in the same boat as you. Like I vaccinated some of my kids, and then now I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh my goodness, am I the one that's going to live with a kid that potentially is injured from them? And then I think it got me a little fired up too when I went to my pediatrician and they were like, yeah, you're going to have to find a new provider. And we got kicked out of our pediatrician practice because I wanted to just decide when I was comfortable giving those vaccines to my kids. And so it is definitely something that I'm very passionate about now. And, once you give a kid a shot, not only will they have to live with whatever that is, you do too. And that's where I also want to point the bishops and anybody who makes these decisions is like, you guys aren't living with any of the consequences. And I guess too, as a Catholic, I've been listening a lot lately because you guys are bringing in Aaron Siri, and he made a good point. It kind of just resonated with me. It was, people think of vaccines as like a religion, and like you have to be pro or anti and all this stuff, and like, no, it's a product. Like, it is a product, and if you don't generalize that for people, I feel like the bishops are putting in my head, you're putting our faith, you're putting vaccines above our faith. And it's not. I have faith in God, and I have faith that He's going to protect my family, and I'm going to make those decisions based on my conscience and everything that God gave me. But if we're putting this exemption and this barrier in, we're putting vaccines and this category of products as a religion, like an ideology. And it's dividing people, and it's not necessary at all. So,
and I'm not, and people, if the Catholic Church will say that, you should accept the small moral evil that is in vaccines in order to accept a greater moral good. That is what they say about the aborted cell lines. So yes, there is some evil in some of the origins of these vaccines, but that the evil is far removed because it happened so long ago. I just don't believe that to be true. I believe that evil does not diminish over time. I believe that evil is evil all the time, no matter that. To me, it would kind of be like saying, well, the Holocaust is less evil now than it was when it happened back then, because we are so far removed from the Holocaust. So it's not really as bad as it was when it happened back then, because it did happen so long ago.
yeah.
Evil is evil, no matter if it happened last year or if it happened 400 years ago. Evil just is all the time. And so, we, and the bottom line is that there are other options. There are alternative ways if someone truly wanted to vaccinate their children without using these aborted cell lines. That technology is out there. But and this is just me getting on my soapbox. But because I believe because the Catholic Church has been so easy to roll over and say, yes, we will accept these vaccines with aborted cell lines in them. We have not forced these other producers. We have not forced the production of these more ethical vaccines with ethical cell lines. So I remember when the COVID vaccine came out, and I had not stepped into the vaccine arena. I was like, nope. People had asked me to, and I was like, nope, not doing it. I am not getting into this vaccine debate. I do abortion. That's what I do. And I had many, many mothers asking me, please do it. Please talk about vaccines. And I was like, nope, nope, nope.
And then Emma came on. No, I'm just kidding.
No. And then the whole COVID thing happened. The COVID vaccine thing happened. And people were saying, you've got to do something. You've got to say something. You've got to say something. And I was like, nope, because the Catholic Church, every single one of these vaccines are cell line compromised. Every single one of them was created with a tainted cell line. And so the Catholic Church is going to stand against this. I said that to my husband. I remember saying that to my husband. I don't need to say anything because the church is going to stand against this. And then they didn't. And I said, okay, I think I have to say something. And that came at great cost to me personally. I had events cancel. I had Catholic Church events cancel with me. I became pretty persona non grata with the USCCB. I wasn't allowed on particular very popular Catholic programming, Catholic television programming anymore, because I was seen as disobedient to the church. And that was never my intention. My intention, I never want to appear to be disobedient to the Catholic Church. I love the Catholic Church. But I was so disheartened because I truly believed in my spirit that if the Catholic Church had said, we're not doing this, we are not going to roll over and tell the faithful, you should take this compromised vaccine. I truly believe that if they would have stood up and if they would have said, nope, we're not doing it, and we are going to call for the faithful to refuse this until there is an ethical vaccine available, I believe that within the week, an ethical vaccine would have been made available. Now, would I have taken it? Probably not, because I'm vaccine hesitant anyway. But
that's just because they won't get sued. So
yeah, but
it'll come quick.
Exactly. But I still believe an ethical cell line would have been made available. But because these vaccine manufacturers know that the largest faith community in the world is willing to compromise on aborted stem cell lines being in their vaccines because they know that they'll just allow it to happen, why would they need to create an ethical cell line? They don't, right? And so I was so just completely disheartened. I knew the risk I was taking by speaking out, but I did it anyway. And it did come with a cost, but I feel like it was worth it. And then I was like, well, the horse is out of the barn, so I might as well just start talking about all the vaccines now. And then I started talking about, my vaccine injured child, Fulton, and started talking about, why we refuse to vaccinate, which it just became a bigger and bigger issue. And I thought this is something that we're going to have to continue to fight, even at the state level, even in our own schools. And it feels good that we're not just fighting it alone anymore, that now we have a group of over 1,200 people fighting this with us, and not because we're mad at the bishops or anything like that, but we really are just trying to bring some education into this discussion, and some perspective of parents who are saying, please consider our opinions. Please consider our perspectives, and please consider our community as Catholic parents.
It's insane too, because like, I know Kelly and I were talking about it. Catholic schools make up like maybe 1% to 2% of like all kids in the whole state of education. And we're talking about 1% to 2%. I'm like, if there was going to be an outbreak of some sort, it would have already happened. And so we're literally discriminating against a population of like 1% to 2% of kids that maybe 1% or 2% of those might just not want to vaccinate their kids. And it's like, it's a little insane. And yet those same people all go to mass with you on Sunday and they all participate. It's just,
yeah. They go to youth group. They go to youth group together. They go to mass. They play in sports leagues together. And even at our school, I mean, we have homeschool kids play with our kids in sports. And a lot of those homeschool kids are not vaccinated. So they can play in football together, very close contact sport. They can play basketball together. They can play soccer together. They can, compete at PSIA, like a UIL competition. They can do all of these things together, but they can't sit in a classroom together. They can go to mass together. They can go to youth group together. They can go to weekend, Christian conferences together. They do all these things together, but they cannot sit side by side each other and learn math.
But it's like
together.
The basics of the Catholic and the Christian church, like as a whole, we want to evangelize, and we're literally just putting up barriers. And, like we said, the ESA is just opening up doors. Like, let us open all the doors all the way, because that is the last missing piece. And people like, I've heard people like in our community at school be like, aren't you scared of not like your kids not being vaccinated? I'm like, of what? What am I like? I'm like, I'm confused. Are you scared of my child? Like, have they done something wrong? No. Like, and
their vaccines work. Why am I scared?
Well, exactly. But I mean, to be fair, I am now confident in our medical advancements that I believe the medical advancements and our antibiotics would treat anything that my kid would get or myself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we just went through the whooping cough. Let me tell you, we all survived. It's gonna be
Believe
okay.
it or not.
I mean, yeah, it sucks. It's not pleasant, but I mean, we're here, we're building our immune system, and we're going to move past it. And, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. And I think
my whole family got COVID.
Yeah.
We all survived, and none of us got the vaccine. In fact, when we got it, my son, Luke, he's my third child. He got it. We had such a mild case of it. It was kind of silly, but he got it. And we were like, oh, we think Luke has COVID. So we home tested him. He tested positive, and we were like, everybody go drink after Luke. Like, everybody go drink out of Luke's straw.
Yeah.
And so we did. We all drank after Luke. We all got it. And then our family, all of us only had COVID one time. That one time. In all these years, we only had it one time. We never got vaccinated. We never, whatever. And, of course, we never masked. We were none of that. And I feel like my kids are never sick. The people I know that got vaccinated, they're sick all the freaking time. Their kids are sick all the time. So the ones that vaccinated their kids are sick all the time.
Oh, the flu shot. You get
The
it
flu
every year.
shot.
You get the flu shot?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like people that vaccinate their kids are sicker. They themselves are sicker. But my son Carter, actually, we also got kicked out of a practice. A Catholic doctor who was at that practice kicked us out because we weren't vaccinating. And my son Carter, Emma knows him, but he's such a brute. Our doctor actually forgot we had another son because he never went to the doctor. So she was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about Carter." She's like, I just never see him. And I'm like, that's right. Because he's never sick. Like our kids just aren't sick. We're very blessed. Like we just never, but we let them build up their own natural immunity and we just don't vaccinate them. And, yeah, it's just worked out. But like what Emma was saying, like with the medical exemption, like they have to get sick first before you get the medical, which is crazy. It's like, we're going to give you a little bit of rat poison. We're going to see if that makes you sick. And if it does, then we'll sign the exemption.
Then the magic pen comes out.
And it's like, well, I know that this rat poison is going to make me sick. Why can't you just sign it now? You know? It just really doesn't make any sense.
Abby, I think you used a great word earlier when you said disheartened. Disheartened definitely captures the overall sentiment that most parents who contact us about not being able to send their kids to Catholic school are feeling. They feel ostracized by their own faith, you know? And my son is 14 now, and he's been homeschooled his whole life. But his father and uncle both went to Catholic school. His grandpa went to Catholic school, and so he was going to go to Catholic school. But when he was a baby, he had a reaction to the DTaP vaccine in the doctor's office. Mm-hmm. And she said to never get him vaccinated again. So when it came time to enroll him in school, I just assumed, you know, there would be an exemption option, and there wasn't. And so he couldn't continue in the family legacy of attending Catholic school because medically he could not be vaccinated. And so that was disheartening. That's the perfect word. TFEC has worked with families for over a decade now, who have reached out to their, you know, respective dioceses where they live across Texas, and no one has been able to make headway yet. And they have taken binders full of information that you would think would sway anyone because it was medical, scientific literature and biblical literature, you know, about why these children who are healthy should not be discriminated against and not kept from a Catholic education. So my question to you two ladies is, with this petition you've got going, Emma, is there anything that parents out there who are concerned or want to join this cause, what are some simple steps that they can maybe do? Is there some printouts that we can provide? Anything like that?
So, I mean, I'm looking for any and all families to help. I'm trying to get at least one or two families in every diocese, which I probably have. I just need to make direct contact with. And honestly, do we start at the superintendent level? So my superintendent here in Austin, you know, I'm sure just emailed over what I sent to her and the head of the TCCB education department. She sent it over to Bishop Garcia. So he's got it. Whether or not he read it, I'm not sure. I didn't get confirmation. We haven't got feedback. When I ask for feedback, I just get they have not changed their stance, and it's a one line. And I'm just like, okay, well,
I don't even think they got it.
Give it to them. So my next step is they're having a superintendent meeting next week. And I'm like, okay, well, do I need to go print my packet and give it to my superintendent who can give it out to everybody and then also print an extra one for every bishop and make sure that happens. But the problem is too, I've been asking for meetings, whether it's a phone call or just a sit down. I've gotten told I can't show up or no, we aren't going to accept a meeting or whatever. And I'm like, from TCCB and even our superintendent, she's willing and she's responsive to me, but I understand she's so busy. But I mean, I just need someone to take the next step with me. And so
We need people that have relationships with these bishops. There are people in each diocese that are actually friends with these bishops, right? Like bishops are not solitary entities, right? Like
they celebrate mass.
That's right. Bishops do have friends. Okay. Yeah. Like we're not their friends. Emma and I are not friends with bishops, but there are people who are actually friends with bishops in different areas and in different parts of the states. And we need to know those people. Like we need to know who they are so that we can possibly get this information into their hands, so that they can go to their friend, the bishop, right? And say, hey, I talked to Emma Rieger. Don't say Abby Johnson. That won't go well. But like I talked to this wonderful woman, Emma Rieger, and, she's really having a time, like trying to get this, just trying to get an audience, with the TCCB. Like, would you please review this? Can you talk to this bishop? Can you talk to that bishop? Like, can we get some traction here? People know bishops. And so we need to talk to the people who know those bishops, and we need to try to get this into their hands just for consideration. I don't believe, Emma spent so much time, so much energy, creating this petition, talking to this woman at TCCB. And I personally don't even believe that she put it into their hands. I think the response that Emma got was it was such a blow off response. It was just this one sentence, just completely abrupt. Like they didn't change the policy. Well, I don't even think it was really brought to their attention. I don't even think they talked about it. I don't think they read the petition. I don't think that they saw that over 1,200 families are concerned about this. I don't think they looked at it at all. I don't think she brought it to their attention at all. I think she completely blew it off.
And such a gatekeeper of all of this, right? Like,
yes.
Why? So,
yeah. And so that's really what we need. We need people with relationships to reach out and try to bring this to a place of breakthrough. That's really where we are right now.
And I know, like, from the ESA program and like that angle, I mean, I love our school community, and all I want to see is us grow as a Catholic church, as a Catholic school, and bring Jesus to everybody we can. And I just think, like, we've got so much evil in this world. Why are we not opening these doors so people can learn more about God and more about their faith, so that we can stop this evil and prevent that from happening? Anything. And that's why I take this way. This is just so personal too. I said it in my letter to the TCCB education director, and I said, when you get to the pearly gates and this is your final judgment and you get asked, did you do everything you could to bring as many children to me? And did you prevent anyone from learning about me and knowing me? And if they can fully say, they being bishops and superintendents and all of those in this whole topic, if they can say, yeah, I did, then they can sleep at night. But like, I can't. I can sleep okay, but like, no, we need to fight through this. And this, and I'm not trying to be ugly to anybody. I just want someone to understand, like, we're just trying to do the right thing. My husband thinks I'm a little crazy because I'm like very passionate about it. And he's just like, Emma, like, let's just worry about our family. And I'm like, yeah, but there's others. Like, you never know who could impact your family or who your kids are going to marry one day, right? Because, like, that could be the person I help impact. You never know. But it's something that has to be done. We have to make a change. This isn't going to sit well. And I just don't believe that the ESA and like even that opinion that we'll get hopefully soon. I mean, I hope it helps. You never know. Maybe that's the light bulb we need, is the opinion to come through. I can just see them now, though, like doubling down on it.
Well, I mean, it's gonna come to a head, right? Because it's either going to be you take the money. It's going to be one or the other. You continue to require vaccines or you take the money.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think any of our Catholic schools are in the position to turn down the money from ESA.
Mm-hmm.
We're just not. So,
Even though everybody thinks Catholic schools make money. I'm like, no.
Catholic schools are broke. So we don't have the ability to say, ew, money, gross. We don't have the ability to do that. So when there's money on the line, they're going to have to make that determination. Like, no, we're willing to suck it up and say, we're going to accept the exemptions in order to get the money. There's too many people now, which I think is an important thing for us actually to continue as Catholic parents to continue to spread the message of ESA, that this is going to be available to us at Catholic schools. I think it's really important for us to continue to spread that message, to get people really excited about it so that the bishops can't then renege and go, oh, just kidding, we're not going to take the money. There would be an even greater outcry then. Mm-hmm. If you have a lot of people that are like dependent, that are saying, this is like the lifesaver that we needed. This is what we needed to get our kids into this school. And then you say, never mind, we're going to take it back. I don't think they'd be able to survive that. Mm-hmm. So I think that one of the best things we can do if your kids are in Catholic school, if you are planning on putting your kids in Catholic school because of this ESA funding, the best thing you can do is to really promote that and to be like, hey guys, this is going to be available next school year. Put it out, push it out, let everybody know about the ESA program, get hyped about it, sign up for it in January. Get yourself into the lottery, whatever. And I mean, my family's going to, I got 7 kids in private school, so we're definitely going to be signing up. Yeah. Emma's going to be signing up, like sign up, get yourself into the lottery to see if you can qualify. And then, the bishops are going to have an even harder time saying if the opinion comes back, which I think that it will come back, to say, no, you're going to have to accept religious exemptions to receive the money. They're going to have a really hard time then pulling out and saying, oh, never mind, we don't want the money. They can't afford to not take the money.
Yeah. Especially because they've already promoted it so heavily. I mean, they've had conferences on it already. Yeah. And I mean, principals, teachers, they're all excited. I mean, the funding alone is going to help our teachers and it's just, it's going to be a good thing. And I think they want it to be a good thing too, but let's just not hinder people from coming. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, thank you, warrior moms. You're not just ladies, you are warrior moms. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Emma, for all the work you are doing. And
thanks for your help.
Abby, for sharing your wisdom and knowledge. And if anyone out there watching is interested in helping with this matter, send us an email to info@texansforvaccinechoice.com. We will get you connected with Emma. We will get you connected with her printables. And, hopefully maybe meet some bishops and, make some headway on this, because it has been far too long for the kiddos to be discriminated against over what amounts to just medical paperwork.
Yeah. And I do want to say, like, if you want your children to receive a Catholic education, get your kids a Catholic education. Do not let medical paperwork be the reason that your kids don't get a Catholic education.
Mm-hmm.
My kids are receiving a Catholic education, and my kids are not vaccinated, and we are making it work. So you can get the paperwork you need. You can get the medical exemptions you need. You can make it work. So just don't, you know what? You may have to get creative. You may have to do some things, but do some things and do what you need to do to get your kids the education that you want them to receive. And I'm not going to let a piece of paper prevent my kids from getting the education that I want them to receive. And we haven't. So just do what you need to do, and
get a hold of us. We'll figure it out.
Get a hold of us. We'll help you. We'll help you get creative.
And we can get with the bishops, and we're all going to be friends. So it's going to be good.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Shot Callers podcast. Please, if you found value in this content, rate us and share the podcast with a friend. It's a great way to get the message out and to empower everyone to make informed decisions. Until next time, never forget, we are the Shot Callers.